In this video, I want to talk about the docs one more time, and specifically how we can learn more about git log, which just gives us a log of the commits in a given repository. And as we saw, when I added a very, very long commit message, we see the entire thing here. Now, shortly, we will want to see these commits, and specifically, we're going to want to know these commit hashes. Spoiler, we need those in order to revisit a commit or undo a commit or check out or take a look at a commit. So we need those, and if we have hundreds of commits and they all have these really long messages, that could be really frustrating. So there are some options for how we use git log. So let's go to the documentation. Let's go to reference, and we'll find log. Here it is. I'll zoom in a bit. As we know, it shows us commit logs. But there's quite a bit to how it works, and there's a lot that I just don't know about it because I don't use most of these features. Just like with most Git commands, there are tons of options. But the one I'm interested in for now, if we scroll down, you could also find it in the examples, I'm pretty sure, down at the bottom. I mean, look at this. This is crazy, the number of options. Just absurd. You can filter things out based on who wrote the commits, when they were committed. I believe you can order them differently. But what we are after... All right, well, I had to search for it, but this is what we're after, formatting the commits. These flags, including -- pretty, allow us to pretty print or change the format of the logs, how they're printed out. And specifically, I usually use this option one line. So -- one line, which is actually shorthand for -- pretty, equals one line -- abbrev commit. So what does this mean? We can just take one piece at a time just to show you. Abbrev commit just shows us a shorter version of that commit hash. So if I do git log -- abbrev commit, it's hard to see much of a difference. But here, I'm only getting a small piece compared to what we got before of each one of those commit hashes. But we're actually after a bit more than that. We want one line. So when we do -- pretty equals one line, we have these different options for pretty, -- pretty medium, or fuller, email. These are all things that we can format in the response, but I just wanted to show you one line. So I like to use the shorthand, -- one line, but just know that it's actually shorthand for pretty equals one line and abbreviated commit. Let me just show that, git log -- one line, if I can type it correctly. And there we go. Oh, so much better. Look at that. You can see one line of each commit message, which is why your first line of a commit message, even if it's a super long one, the first line should explain, it should summarize the commit. So remove extra blank lines. That's what we did, even though if we actually look at the entire message, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. It's very important, or I shouldn't say very important, but it's conventional, and you should follow this pattern of having that first line be the summary of the commit, and then any other information comes afterwards, separated by a return. So git log -- one line, it's a nice way to look at our history, and it's not just about, remembering, oh, that was such a cute message I wrote. It's actually important to be able to do this because shortly we will be revisiting commits, and we want to look at this history so that we can figure out where to time travel back to. But for now, we're just reminiscing. So that's git log. The docs, as I just showed you, are so overwhelming. I mean, there's so much you can do with git log. I have carpal tunnel just from scrolling down this page. So don't feel intimidated, or do feel intimidated, but know that I am also intimidated by this page, whichever makes you more comfortable.